Okay, let me get things started. All right. Good afternoon. Sure, we'll go with it. Ah, I'm a little scattered today. Forgive me. Get some paper towels out. Oh, I figured I would go ahead and get my stream started early since I'm not working today. I've got it off. Holiday. So I'll go ahead and get the stream taken care of early so I can have the whole rest of the evening free. So here we are. Um, what am I going to use today? Well, I had my to-go streaming, or my rather my to-go painting bag ready. And I realized that I didn't use any of it, and I put some of my good brushes in here that I might need. So this one in particular, and potentially these, in case I need to do stars, and everything else I think can probably stay in here. Maybe I'll grab this larger round brush face. I'll put this back when I put the brush back in it later. You scoot it over here for now and get it out of the way. All right. What am I gonna do today? Well, I don't know. I kind of just rushed in here to get some stream time in. So let's think about what we're gonna do. I have been thinking to the side. I realized I saw I made a kind of mistake here. I've got the top of the lightning bolts, but when I peel this away, it's just going to be pure white against the dark of the cloud. And I didn't leave any room here for glow around it, like I did down below. And I didn't leave any room for glow in the clouds in general. So I think what I might try to do is lift some of this, uh, what is it? Litter black, I think I did. See if some of this will come up just around it and maybe just above it so that I can have like a little glowy effect. So I'm going to see if I can do that. I'll do that right here and right here. And then I think most everywhere else is okay. I think I left room for glow around everywhere else except right there. So let me see what I can do with that. Just going to put some water in the area I want to lift and just kind of cover that area. Same for this area right here. That's a little bit too much. Yeah, it looks like it's coming up already. Let me try to scrub just a little. Just get it loose. Rehydrate it a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely coming up. Let me grab another paper towel so I can use it to, sorry, try not to smack the mic. Try to dab some of that up around there. Oh yeah, that might not come up at all. We'll see. Yeah, I didn't think that through when I did it. It's coming up a little bit. Just have to be patient with it and scrub a little. I don't want to scrub so hard on it though that I mess up the paper underneath. I found if you rub on the paper too much, it will start to pill up on you. like the paper will start to kind of repulp. Yeah, I don't know how much this is going to actually come up. It's coming up a little bit. It's not as dark as it was. It's never going to become pure white again, I don't think, but you can get some of it. Just enough to be able to put some color or even leave it light. Ignorance I need. Let go. Yeah, I don't think it's coming up any more than that. It's kind of expected. I try to see what I can do with the area around this one. I think I've succeeded in lightening it a little bit. It's not going to be huge, but it seems to be just a little. Yeah. I mean, it's just a tiny bit. Let's see what we can do to recover. Clearly adding any color on top of it is just going to darken it more. So I think what I can do is try to get like a blend of the pink effect, maybe even the purple effect, since it's higher up in the clouds. This is going to be dark anyway, and just kind of get it to glow. Maybe we'll just do just pink, or maybe we'll just wet this whole cloud area so that we can add more cloud surface to it and then lighten up the area around this and then just keep this area from getting more cloud, more darkness, and then darken some of the other areas around it. That might do it. I haven't hydrated my palette. So let's wet my palette. Especially that. See, that's the danger of leaving and coming back. I forgot what colors I used. I know I did the upper pink for the pink in here, but for the purple, I think I remember doing cobalt blue violet. I seem to remember that. So we'll come back to it. Okay. So let's switch to my larger round brush and then just wet the area of the clouds. Okay. All right. let's look at our pinky color. Okay. Yeah, I think that's helping. While we're at it, let's go ahead and add some of the brighter hits of the opera pink around where the lightning bolts are, because we need it to be a little brighter anyway. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. It is pretty wet in here. Let me distribute that a little bit. Okay. Get some of that I'll do so the lunar black is quite dark. I don't think that's what I did. No, maybe I did lunar blue. Let's check that out. Yeah, that looks more like it. There we go. Okay. Put a puddle right there. In fact, I think I'm going to just go deep in here and then just pull back some stuff. Yes, those lines were bugging me. I wasn't feeling real, natural, you know? Okay. Spray a little bit. Didn't get to that even. And it wasn't pretty wet up area, so we're doing that next. To refill that. Okay. Let us get some of the messier bits. Oh, these are rough. Mhm. Okay. So drive that one section off. Okay. So let's look at the space area up here, the sky area. So how do I want to do it? I think I may just go with the general idea of this first picture on the left, like I wanted, and do like a little dark streak and then dark on the top and fade, gradient that down a bit and leave some light area above and below that dark streak and then just fade it as it goes downward. If I can recreate that in my mind, we'll see. I think I'll switch to a larger brush because I need the space. Uh, and I'm pretty sure I did indigo for the sky. So let's take a look at that. In fact, let me go ahead and wet this whole area down some more. Wet, too wet. Okay, I think we're good. Let's keep this to the side for emergencies. All right, switch to a larger brush. Let's get our indigo warmed up. Okay, so thinking it through, I think what I will do is lift it and add some to the top, and then just start working my way down. Okay. Okay. Let's start trying to. Oh, I need to rinse that brush really good. Oh, excuse me. Mm. Did you press about a song? Oh, let's see. I need to fix this. That could be. I did. I will be right back. Give me just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Let me find some different music and I can play something in the background while I'm whacking away at this. Oh my god, it's so far away. Um, you can't go wrong with some Lizzo. Okay. Okay. James Brown band. Time. But got shine. And he just even got it tried. You about my dreams, can't even find it on my dreams. Don't have a thing. I'm about to have a panic attack. I, 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 This is my friend. Right. Hmm. Turn Lizzo down for a minute. So, what to do next? I mean, that's a real question, right? Um, Taking a look at this, I think the things that remain, doing some more adjustments to the clouds, like some final darkening in the areas that need to be dark so that the lightning pops a little more. So in between, underneath, most of the cloud needs to be darkened up quite a bit. But that to be, I think, a bit more direct. I don't think I can be a whole lot of over the top flowy because then I'll accidentally cover things up. So that means no big washes of water because it would go over the top of this. Um, and I think we need to add some final focused, like dry brush of the opera pink, and then bring in again at the very end some of the purples right next to the clouds. And then the cloud area will be done aside from pulling off the masking and putting in some hand-drawn white bolts with the gel pen, which we can do at the very end. So we'll do some more work on the clouds before we get to that final phase. The upper portion I'm leaving alone until we're closer to being done, because then I'm going to want to add stars to everything up here before we pull the mask off of the moon. And then we start painting the moon separate once the rest of the sky is done. And then the bottom area. So you can see that I added a little pink. I realized that I can't point at it because there's stuff in the way, but the far right example over here has a lot of glow. I realized I didn't have, and I wasn't going to be able to add. So it needs to be behind the scenes, I think. So I went ahead and added a faint amount of the opera pink. So the whole bottom of this, I don't think I can show it easily because it's a little wet. The whole bottom is very lightly pink, matching some of the pink of the clouds, the lightning, I mean. So that when I get down here and I try to figure out how I'm going to do mountains, at least I'll have some light area to preserve if I can figure that part out. So I'll have some highlights sneaking in from behind. So, and then over here, I think I'm going to do kind of like that one on the far right and do like a darker mountain with less of the highlight shining through. And it's going to be up a little higher. So it'll be kind of touching the stars up here. Snare, hey, welcome in. Just kind of going over where I've gotten to in the last hour. I've just I've darkened the space up here. I've made a darker streak for like the galaxy, the Milky Way in the middle here, and tried to preserve some lighter area around it. I've got kind of an edge where the cloud begins and the space ends. So when it comes time to put stars, I'm going to need to mask off most of the cloud area so I don't star it up by accident. And then I'll do stars up above, and then I'll do the reverse of that and hide a lot of the space stuff so that I can finish up some of the cloud cover area. And then figure out what I'm going to do for the ground, which is going to be difficult, so we'll see. Am I going to flick white gouache or something for stars? Well, it's interesting you say that. So one second, I'm on mute so I can talk. Just wanted to clear my throat, but I didn't want to do it with you listening. I have some coffee really quick. So what do I usually do? Typically I use this liquid acrylic ink. Focus. Focus. Come on, bring it back a little bit. No? There we go. No? Yeah, there we go. I use some acrylic ink normally. So I usually just use the dropper, and I'll put a little bit in the bottom of this little container that I use just for acrylic white, just to keep it clean. And then I will do one of a few things. I'll either use a toothbrush. I will do the traditional flick for small stars. So I will do that last for the small stars, unless that's all I want. For bigger stars, what I usually do is I will take one of my smaller, if not this one's way too big. I usually use my smallest round brush, right? And I'll wet it down. I'll dab it in the acrylic white and get a nice mixture on it, and then do a quick dot on my paper towel so I don't have big blobs of it. And then I'll use my bigger brush and I'll thwack, right? I'll do this number a lot of times because that'll give me like the medium, small and medium stars. and then I'll dry that completely. Then I'll go back over with the toothbrush version and I'll do a finer mist, right? So anywhere I want a fine mist of stars, same thing, and it's very dangerous. You think it'd be simple. The toothbrush for me has been dangerous. I have to make sure that when I do dip and I get a little bit on the brush, I have to then get most of it off on a paper towel because when I start flicking, if I do more than like 5 or 6 flicks of the brush, I have to go back and re-dab because all of the liquid has gone to the head of the brush. And when I go to flick again, I end up with a large amoeba blob instead of a more circular one. So this is a bit more dangerous than the paintbrush flick method is. So I try to be very gentle and very judicious with using this when I can. Then, if I want a very large star, I'll usually try to do a sometimes I'll do a gel pen and I'll try to do a larger star. But it's hard to keep it circular. So usually I just kind of go off of whatever the largest one that got created by the paintbrush flick technique. And I'll just enhance it, or I'll sometimes do the thinnest white gel pen I've got, and I'll do a ruler. And with everything totally dry, I'll do a couple like of the streaks, like a tall vertical, like a half length horizontal, and then I'll turn it at diagonals, and I'll do some of the mini points to get like a lens flare kind of effect off of 1 or 2, maybe 3 stars. However, that's what I usually do. You mentioned gouache. I'd never used it before, and I bought some. So I do have some that I have not yet used. I have Daniel Smith for my entire set over here that you can't see. I got my first tube of gouache. And I don't know that this will focus. I'll try to get it close and then pull it back. No, I'm not going to play. There we go. I have the titanium white Daniel Smith extra fine gouache, which I will use, and I will try to practice with, probably on this one. So yes, I think I will for the first time ever finally use gouache, but I think I'll do the same process that I do with the acrylic in here. I may use a different container because I don't want to mix my gouache with acrylic, but I might have a separate container that I do just for my white gouache because I don't have a spot for it on my palette. And I will try doing the stars this time using this. We'll see how it goes. I'm not there yet. Hi, Goddess, welcome in. Hey, hope you're doing well. I streamed early today because one is a holiday and I want to have the rest of the afternoon off. And 2, I figured because normally Mondays you're not free in the afternoon. So I thought, hey, if you're free like before that, and you can pop in and say, hey, I'm glad you're here. I nailed the lighting. Really? Thank you. I didn't feel like it. But I feel like the last pass I did of the galaxy section here in the middle added some distinction and darkened up and put texture in here so that the existing light color I had in the background popped a little more. But then when I did this, I realized it was darker than the sky up here. So I did another pass, like a kind of like a diagonal gradient, and I darkened up here to try to get it as dark as the stars here so that the remaining light area is a combination of the light area, the dust cloud area of the galaxy shining through of the Milky Way. And then I wanted it to kind of fade as it went downward anyway to get light down the bottom. So we'll see. And yes, I need to brighten up some of the lightning bolt area. I need to darken up a little bit of the cloud cover for one final pass. And then once the clouds are done, I can do stars over here. I will peel all of this masking fluid on this side, and I'll do some lightning bolts added on with the gel pen to make some center lines so that this corner will be finished. I still need to do mountains on the bottom, and then the stars up here, and then peel all this masking fluid for the moon away, and then do the moon, which I'll probably do last anyway. And we'll see how it goes. It'll be cool. It'll be a neat combination of things I've never done before. So I'm kind of excited for that. It's killer. Sure, you can make it even better, but you've shown you can paint sick lightning and it works as a concept. Oh, thank you. Let me puff out my chest. Thank you so much for the compliment. No, I usually don't take compliments well because I feel like I don't, like most people, I've got insane imposter syndrome. I've only been doing this now. April would have been 2 years. So yeah, I've been doing this 2 years, self-taught, and I am slowly still progressing toward a reasonable facsimile of something decent. And I'm thankful for that. I'm never going to be perfection in a short time frame, and I don't intend to because I'm not trying to professionally train myself. But I do want to pick up lessons as I go and fix mistakes. So every now and then I pick up a little piece of, oh, I should have done that next time. So at least I am self-learning, error correcting. Ooh, now that you're here, uh, oh, my phone is back that way. Maybe I'll show it next time. Yeah, my phone is back behind me. I feel like getting up and getting it, but over the last 2 days, since this is a 3-day weekend from work, one of the things we did is we decided to just go out and drive. And my other half picked a place on Saturday for us to go to that we had never been to the whole time we lived here, 10 years. We went to the Stormy Falls, which was super cool. There was a waterfall, like, I don't know, half an hour to an hour away. I don't know, time is meaningless to me. It's a little ways away. We got to see some really cool waterfall, which was actually gorgeous and sounded amazing. I took some video and pictures of it, so maybe I'll show that on Thursday, because it seems pretty enough to want to try to figure out how to paint. So maybe after we're done with getting this one completed, we'll look at doing that waterfall. I think that would be pretty cool. So I'll show that next time. But just know that that's coming as a cool thing. And then Sunday, not for painting, but Sunday we went to a state park totally at random because we went in a direction. We saw a sign, state park. And in Washington, if you buy a Discover Pass, which is their like yearly fee for getting into all of the state parks instead of paying when you go, we had that. And it's a state park. So we got to go in for free or for prepaid. So we just went into this park, and it was called Flaming Geyser State Park. So you can look it up if you want to in Washington. And they've got 2 little geysers there, which is really interesting. Absolutely exhausting walk up to one of them. And I'm not even in the best of shape, and it was terrible for me. But we made it up there. I have a picture and video of that. And then their main geyser was a little lower down, easier to get to. And it was like a little tiny guy, like seriously, it was like this big around in the middle where it was like bubbling up air or methane. And that was it. But it was a nice park. It was a really nice park. I always like going to the state parks out here, and we find one that we feel like we've got the time and energy to go to. We'll dip off and go look at it. It was really cool. Don't let perfection get in the way of all that is good. Thank you. I try. I don't ever expect perfection. I expect mediocrity, which I'm satisfied with. And I tend to hit that bar sometimes. It sounds like fun. Your almost scientific process of testing and trying is actually absolutely working. Is it? Thank you. I appreciate it. It's how I want to do things anyway, because this has always been about doing it for fun. It's never been about doing it professionally or to make money from it, unless something miraculous happens and that becomes a thing and is desirable. I will do it. We talked about it internally, trying to figure out like what that would look like, what would we plan for, what would we sell. It's always a heavy question, right? And is it good enough to sell? Are people going to want it? Are people going to want your half-assed art when people that have been professionally trying to do it are struggling to make ends meet? Probably not. And if we do, it's going to be very low effort to begin with, low budget, but available, so that if there's ever more than, a few people in here and someone wants to buy something cool and interesting, or even people that have never seen it before, will, have an opportunity. So we'll see. I'm a perfectionist to the point that I don't do stuff if I can't nail it. I feel that. And making sure learning art is the opposite, celebrating any small win. That's good. Well, I don't think I've heard. What kind of art do you like doing? I'd be interested to know. For me, this was an escape from work. Of 3 years back? Well, no, 2 years back. Wow, math. Wait, what? That doesn't math. Yes, it does. No? Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay, so I started painting 2 years ago. It was right at the beginning of me doing a very stressful project for work that deployed September of 2024, but I was working on it all the way back to the beginning of the year and just at the end of the year prior to that in 23. But the real, you know, everything is going crazy period was really ramping up in April of 24. And I was stressing out and I was watching videos of different things and I came across watercoloring, which like I've never been super artistic ever. Well, a little bit when I was a kid, but I like left that and never revisited it. And I ended up looking at a video from a lady named Jenna Rainey, who is a watercolorist, mostly floral work. Um, and I just kind of got addicted to watching her do that, so much so that I'm like, I want to try. I want to try something. So we went and got some basic paints, realized it was kind of garbage, and got a better quality stuff a little bit over time over the last 2 years. And it's just been a very slow roll. My personal desire is this upper part of the image here, space. I really, really, really geek out when it comes to space and space fantasy. Star Trek is my thing. Star Wars is great too. I just don't watch it as much, but I don't hate it. I just don't know it. I know the main three movies and the three they did after and the three they did before. Everything after that, I have not seen. So any of the new Grogu and all the other stuff, I think I saw like one of the prequel Rogue One. Rogue One. I saw the Rogue One movie, and then that's the extent of my Star Wars knowledge. Star Trek, I've seen everything at this point. So space is like my love, my focus for painting, and then anything I do outside of that is pure knowledge, just practice, trying random stuff. So if you see anything other than space from me, it's a stretch. So I'm trying, but we'll see. You're in your 30s. Congratulations. I remember my 30s. It wasn't that long ago. I'm 40, hang on, math, 43 right now. So I feel that. I'm in my 30s and I've never done art. My grandma gave me lots of paints, and now I try to paint more than I watch tutorials. Excellent. I'm a beginner. I want to do plein air. What is that? What is plein air? Am I saying it right? Plein air? You have to tell me. Same, I got a proper Princeton brush and limited palette of colors now. I'm making a DIY easel for plein air. Yeah, you really got to tell me what that is. It's painting outside. Oh, really? 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 What do you think this is? So you got this backpack a few weeks back, month back, and I put a watercolor block in here. I've got a travel set of paints. I've got a sketchbook that's 600 GSM. 600 GSM paper, which is twice the thickness of this stuff, so that it doesn't buckle when you're painting out in the wide world. But I haven't decided when and where to go or what to paint, because I don't know if I want to paint stuff that I see out in the world, because again, I'm not good at that. I need to practice it, but I don't know if I want to practice it in a sketchbook, but I can. But I was thinking of literally painting space stuff because I feel like it outdoors, just because I'm on the outside. I could paint stuff I see as well. The pages in the sketchbook thankfully pop out. It's like a 3-ring binder, so you can take it out, and I bought spare paper for it, so I got plenty. But I built the kit to go out into the world and paint. I have done it once or twice before using this kit. This was my previous palette. I'm sorry, I'm totally hiding my palette right now, my actual one. Let me find. There we go. This is my current main palette over here. It's all Daniel Smith completely, every bit of it. So I've got 44 paints in Daniel Smith, which is a gigantic palette. Someday that will reduce, but I just wanted to get a set with a lot so I can figure out what I use and reduce from there. But for now, I've got a lot. Before that, I used this palette. This is primarily a paint called My Merry Blue, French French? Italian? Shit, I don't remember. Memory blue. It is all in here. I've got a Ziploc bag full of the tubes of Memory Blue. There's the name right there. So you can see it, Memory Blue. Suggested because of who I talked about earlier, Jenna Rainey. These are the paints that she primarily uses. So she gave me the hint of like, this is my first big, expensive paint. And it wasn't really as expensive as you think, because Daniel Smith, way more expensive than Memory Blue. So if you want an intermediate expensive paint, try this. It's actually not too bad. And you can buy multi-packs online of it. But most of this is Memory Blue. And this was my Go Outside palette, which was a little big and cumbersome. So I got one of those, like you see online, people that paint out in the open world and bring just a sketchbook, and they just have like a small palette and the small mixing well. That's what that one is. But it's all Daniel Smith. But I was using this, and I've gone out a couple times using that. I'm DIYing a tripod, nice, with a wooden surface to rest my palette on top of, attached with either magnets or Velcro. Very smart. Damn, that's a lot. Yeah. Totally worth it. And process of elimination is not a bad idea. About 6 tubes of Daniel Smith, and doing a limited palette to practice my mixing. Excellent. Yeah, I'll take it out of there and show. I did hold that thought. Okay. Oh my goodness. Where is the book? I think I put it in front. Yes, I did. Let me see. Yeah, there's that. But I put the paint. Here we go. Yeah, I've got a lot. I've got this to clip into the book. It's water. Oh, you can use it for oil, whatever you want. But I'm going to use it for clean and dirty water when I'm on the go. I have this small palette right here. And it's got a bunch of the primary colors, cool and warm primaries, black, and then a bunch of space colors I like, and then earth tones on the bottom row, which I will show in the book. Here is the sketchbook. It's really nice. I said 3 ring, it's 6 ring. It's got a little magnetic latch right here. And the first page, I have going the opposite direction, so I can always have it open. And the goal is to clip the palette up here. I can't do this with one hand, but you can just guesstimate. It's going to be clipped up there, and I did my swatch card of what's on that small palette. So you can see I've got my cool primaries, warm primaries, my space and atmospheric colors, and then earth tones on the very bottom. And then all of those will allow me to have some flexibility to mix. So this is my on-the-go set that I've yet to use outdoors. I have it set up to do, I just have not done it yet. But I will. I just have to find the time and the place. The clasp. I found some metal wire that I could reshape into either a hook or cup holder too. Take off the back end and attach my own wire. Oh, I see what you mean. That's ingenious. You'll have to show sometime what that looks like. I actually would be really interested to see what the end result of that is. Let me close this up because I'm making a bit of a, well, not a mess, but I am discombobulating my setup here. And you can clasp it onto the tripod. Oh, the tripod. I don't think I'm going to bring a tripod with me, or anything to hold. I'm considering doing it in a way where when we go out, I can either sit in the back of our car, which is an SUV, so I can pop the back open and we can sit back there and not drain the battery doing it. And then having, do you know those, trying to think what they're called. Let me put this up and then I'll talk about it. I'll close this the rest of the way, Let me just get it out of the way. Good. Okay. I was thinking about getting, if you're like sitting on a couch and they've got those little portable flat surface things that have a pillow on the back stitched into it, so you can have it comfy on your lap and have a flat area. I was thinking of using one of those when I'm sitting down somewhere, and then I could open the book out on top of it, and that way I've got a little flat surface. If I had a tripod with, because I'm watercoloring, the majority of the time I'm keeping it mostly flat. But if I brought a tripod with, we do have our tripod with a mount on top, magnetic mount, so that we can put our iPhones on it if I wanted to stream or record something. I don't know that I would, but the capacity is there, so that's the thing. Um, so I've got a lot of it like lined up to do. It's just getting the balls to go out and do it, or the desire, or knowing a place, carving out the time to do it. It's going to be almost entirely weekend because I work, I was going to say 9 to 5, but 7 to 3 technically, Monday through Friday, Pacific time. And that job sucks the life out of me sometimes, even though sometimes I feel like I'm doing nothing. The things I do sucks the life out of me, right? So yeah, I carve out time to try to paint twice a week, and then trying to figure out when to paint outdoors is going to be, yeah, right, but I'm going to try. You can clasp it onto your tripod table, bring a small tripod camping chair, smart. Andy Walker made an amazing compact and almost free easel for watercolor outside painting. I'm stealing some of his ideas. He's on YouTube. Oh, excellent. I think I've heard of his name before when I've just done like a wild, broad searches for watercoloring people online. I think I've come across him before, but I'll have to look. I love the idea of going outside to paint. I just, we all need a visual. Like, I can't do any of this from my head. It's just not happening. I don't have the capacity to just generate these things and transplant them unless I'm trying to like remember a dream and recreate a dream in reality, which I've never done before. But I'm sure if I did that, I think that's how that would work for me. But going outside and just seeing something and painting it sounds like such a cool idea. You want to find compositions in nature and just get lost in the moment? I think that's super cool. I've done twice. Twice we've gone out and I've done that. One time I streamed it. I think Goddess was there and watched it. I went to a park and I set up a stream. I figured out how to set up a stream to my computer, but use my phone as like a remote camera on the web. And I added that browser source to here, to this stream, so that it acted as a camera, but it was a website streaming my video content and audio from my phone. So that was really interesting, trying to test that out. I have to relearn how I did that and make sure it's all still set up and then try it again if I want to ever stream out in the world. Or I'll start doing like what Goddess is doing, and I'll just say, fuck it, and I'll just stream right from my phone with no added special effects or stream alerts or anything, just out in the world. So that might work. I don't know. We'll see. The color is so colorful you want to eat it? Do you really? It's heavy too. Let me show it to you. I'm letting this dry, but also I might come back and paint it more later. I realize I do too much sometimes in one sitting. I try to complete things, and on the internet that's just not going to work. Yeah, so this is my palette, a good majority of it. This is 33 wells. So my cool and warm primaries are here. And then I've got more going up, around, and down. This entire palette is below, and in the section below on the stream, I've got an Excel spreadsheet there that I've got the entire palette. So if you want to see the palette there, you can. I don't remember if I shared a picture of my swatch for this, but I do have it up here. And the other, this is 33, the other 11 are in these two because I had no room to add anything else. So I've got them in a circle on these smaller dishes. And my only black is not even in my main palette. It's here. Because most people say, you can mix black, but what the black that's on here is lunar black, and it's highly granulating. So it has some really cool, beautiful effects, some of which you can see on the bottom of the palette if it will focus. Yeah, see how it all separates? That's granulation, and that's doing it on in the bottom of the palette. So on paper, it also looks really amazing. That's what a lot of. Is there any of it in here that we can actually look at? You might be able to find them. There's some granulation in the clouds because I use lunar blue. Yeah, like right there. It separates out on the texture of the paper, and like some of the paint goes into the lower part. I don't know which direction it goes. If it collects in the high rises, or if it that's an eyelash. It is an eyelash. I don't remember if granulation works by the paint going into the wells, or like the dips in the paper, or if it collects onto the planks of the paper. It's one of the two. But the texture of the paper matters for granulating paints, so that it has something to grab onto and separate and pull away, and it leaves more transparent areas between the areas where the paint collects. So it's super cool looking. The physics of it is also cool. It really is. I've got a whole. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna try to grab this. Forgive me if I don't get this well. I did a stream a few months back when I got these Daniel Smith paints. Sorry, I'm above the mic right now, so it sounds kind of weird. There we go. So this is a swatch I did of just my granulating paints. Everything that is supposed to be considered a granulating paint from my entire Daniel Smith collection. And so how well they granulate, you can see some do very much, some don't. The one thing I did not do here, because I forgot that you don't, that you're supposed to do, and I did not realize, so I might remake this someday. Apparently, with granulating paints, it works best if you paint them down and then spray them with water. If you just spray it with a little bit of water, and I don't mean painting over it with water, I mean literally spraying it with a spray bottle. It helps it separate incredibly well. The ones that granulate will separate really nicely. Everything else just runs. So I did not do that with this. So forgive me, some of them aren't great. That one's gorgeous. That's lunar blue. Lunar blue has so many different colors in it. So it's so interesting seeing how it separates. Like that one could be a painting in its own, just lunar blue, right? But there's others in here as well that do the same thing, that all granulate. Imperial purple. There's the lunar black. See how that one separates and crackles? So yeah, just granulating paints is cool. Oh, my other favorite is Green Apatite Genuine. You can focus. There we go. That one right there in the middle is Green Apatite Genuine. That one looks cool too when it separates and granulates. Super cool. And that's just the granulating paints. I've got my swatch up here too. I can grab. Let me put this back. Okay, that's one magnet. Yeah, so what I'm grabbing in front of me right here is I have a cork board on the wall in front of me, and I found these. I found these thumbtacks that instead of putting holes through the paper, what I do is I put a tack through, and it's got a magnet on it, and it's got a separate magnet that you put on top, so that you put your paper on top of the thumbtack, and then you put the magnet on top of the paper, and it holds it through with the magnet. So that's super cool. But I have to be careful because these are neodymium magnets, and if I get them close to each other, they will snap together. That's goals. Oh, genius. Okay, sorry, I'm reading it from a distance. All right. Oh my goodness. Here is my swatch layout. So the ones all the way around the outside match the palette, and then the 11 in the middle match what I have on these smaller plates in order. So they're all labeled. You can focus. Yeah. So they're all labeled. That's what they are. That's one of my favorites, Aussie Red Gold. Yeah. And then everything around the edge is all swatched out as well, and so on. All right. Yep. Before I put this back, and I can sit back down. All right. Get in there. On. Where you at? There you are. Okay. Well, gravity. It's genius until I have a problem like that. There we go. Okay, I put the other magnets up. Keep us on. There we go. Okay. That's enough show and tell what's on my wall right now. The Aussie Red Gold looks gorgeous, right? It's beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. You know, this is still drying, and we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to set this down. I'll come back to this later. I want it to fully dry anyway. It's hard to tell, but you see how there's a little bit of bowed out in the middle right there, right there. And in other places, it's still wet on the underside. And before I do the next steps that I'm going to do, I need this to be totally dry. And I could sit here for another 30 minutes with the heat gun and try to dry this down. But it's just going to end up like burning the paper effectively, or burning the paint. So I'm just going to put this to the side for now. Oh, things are falling. Oh my God, it's a disaster. Oh, everything's falling over. Slow down. Hang Nope. Nope. Okay, you ass, get over here. The problem is not the stuff that's falling. The problem is the human, the bear, this guy who put the things down underneath me. It's just what it is. Let me scroll down. New Vegas, hi, welcome in. Wow, pretty painting. Thank you. It's partway done. I've got a lot more to do on it. Am I using normal masking tape? I have a combination. Yes, I'm using painter's tape for a good portion. This stuff, this is 1 inch, just regular painter's tape. This one is the Scotch brand, so an actual brand name. It works the best. 1 inch. I have a collection of these. That's 3/4 inch tape. I have a bunch of these of different colors. I have a bunch of 1/2 inch. I have 1/4. And I have washi tape. I have more tape than I'm going to need for quite a while. The only thing I'm running low on that I will need to replace soon is the 1 inch. This is the only roll of it I have, and it's getting kind of thin. And I use it the most for borders to hold paper down. So I do need to get some more of this at some point. It's rather expensive, so I usually wait until I'm totally out before I get more. But I got plenty of all the other stuff. So I'm taped out. I support your dedication. I wish I could say it's a dedication. I am. So here's the deal, right? True talk, right? Coffee talk with Bear. Okay, get your drinks out, boys and girls. So I'm turning the music off totally so I can think. So I have never been a person who was good at having hobbies, right? I have things that I like. I have things that I don't like. Things that I like have always been like, oh, video games. But I never really played video games to such an extent that I considered it an obsession. I don't even think other people would consider it an obsession. I play games in a way and play the parts of them that I like that make me happy in that moment. And I get through it, I play it, I'm done. Sometimes I cheat. Yeah, tough. Sorry. I cheat in games sometimes because sometimes it's not about the struggle to get resources. It's about enjoying the rest of the game. So sometimes I will cheat in some games. So I'm not obsessive and completionist when it comes to games. So that's not where I'm getting that outlet. So move games to the side. Computers. I love computers. I've always loved computers. I work in a job that's IT. That's what I do for a living. My computer love has always been a joy of retro computers, older computers, like 80s, 90s, that era, right? Um, but it's so expensive a hobby because other people have realized that it is a hobby people care about. So they find the few things that exist and scalp it and jack up the price on it so that you have to buy things for an exorbitant cost online. And I'm not here to make other people money for that. I just want to be able to find them places, but I can't because it's a battle. Anywhere that has those things that you could find at a deal like Goodwills or Value Villages, half of it they don't accept because they have some rules against it. Half of it they resell through Dell, a redistributor, right? So they send things through them. Some stuff they post on their own internal website and sell it there at a jacked up auction rate. And then some stuff scraps or the misidentified by their employees makes it to a shelf. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you might find it. That battle is over. I hate it. I did it. It was exhausting. I don't want to do it anymore. So I do have a small collection of computer things over in a couple closets, but they take up space. And once I collect them, I don't do anything with them. So it's not obsessive. It's not really a collection because there's only like a dozen of things in there, a dozen and a half, and then a bunch of side things, cables, stuff that's rare, that's hard to find, hard to replace. So I keep a selection like any good geek does. And I can't count that as a hobby either anymore because it's too expensive to maintain, right? So we've already disbanded video games as a hobby. We've already disbanded computers as a hobby because one is too expensive, too hard to maintain, and I do it for a living. So I don't want to keep doing it in my free time. So that's gone. What's left? What makes me me? Well, I ran out. I started running out of things, basically. So 2 years ago, when I was stressed out at work and I was like, I need something to keep my mind off of it, I found Jenna Rainey, watercolorist, on YouTube, watched her videos, got some of her supplies, started painting, have been slowly working my way up, like I mentioned. And now this is where I can put in some time, some effort, and sometimes some expendable income into this. Again, not a lot. I never really do things to excess. Um, if I were to be a person that did that, I would have no money and I would be deeply surrounded by art supplies that I don't know how to use. As it stands, I already have a lot of art supplies around me that I don't know how to use. And the goal is to learn how to use what I've got now before I blow more money. Because my goal is not to blow money with this, it's to enjoy myself. So the beautiful thing about that, watercolor, even though it comes in itty bitty baby little tubes, it lasts for a very long time, depending on how you use it, right? So some people like to paint from the tube. It comes out as basically like a gel, a liquid, right? Sometimes a little thicker, sometimes a little thinner, depends on what's in it, the binder that's in it, that sort of thing, right? And it lasts. As long as I'm, judicious with my usage, all these supplies last. So at the speed that I'm painting, which is maybe twice a week if I'm lucky, all of this lasts. If I were to push this to the limit, it would become a job. And I don't want to push that hard, right? I want to paint at a level that I enjoy. Because if I start going beyond that and I don't enjoy it, it's going to go into a closet and I'm going to forget about it for years and I'm never going to do it again. And I don't want this to ever turn into that. So streaming is my impetus to make myself paint. Because when I don't paint here for you guys, I don't often paint. Almost never. I'd rather spend my free time when I'm not working vegetating basically and just watching content or playing some video games or doing something mindless on the side like we mostly all do, right? We do things to the side. Reading, it can be anything. I'm trying to get better at making painting be something I do when I am not streaming it. Coffee, thank you. I will have some over here. Um, I'm trying to turn this into something that I make sure I do um, more often, but not enough that I become disgusted by it. I don't necessarily want to take training courses. I don't want to do painting every day for 30 days, like for a month challenges, because even though that will make me show progress quickly, it sounds exhausting. I might, perhaps someday, I might. That might be like what that going outdoors kit will be. Give me a reason to get up off my butt, get a little bit of legwork and exercise in, go to a place that is peaceful, quiet, alone, do a painting for 30 minutes or an hour, let it dry, close it up, come home, right? Or just coming to this desk that we see here that I took the time and effort and money to set up. And when I'm not streaming and not recording, just paint for fun. I can do that, but I also don't want to run out of ideas quickly. Being able to paint here for you guys and for the future is where I try to come up with some kind of ideas to do things. And if I paint a whole lot of stuff to the side, I'm like, what is that going to be? I can paint a million galaxy paintings and nebula paintings, which, I mean, let's be frank, is not a bad idea. I really need to practice those and make them look more realistic. So that might be my go-to when I'm out of the house, is painting galaxies and stuff. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, what is the balance? What is the stuff that I'm going to paint here? What is the stuff I'm going to paint when I'm out? What is the stuff I'm going to paint when I'm not out of the house, I'm not recording anything, but I just need to maintain? Like, I don't fully know what that looks like yet. I'm trying to figure that out. Let me catch up on chat while I clear my throat in your ear, which I'm sure you love. I support your dedication. Yes, Snark, thank you. I used to play video games a lot, but not as much as I used to now. I play some, then do other things before I would binge on them. Yeah, binging. I used to binge on games when I was younger, mostly MMOs, and then not even a lot of them. The first MMO I ever played, for those who don't know, it's a massively multiplayer online RPG, MMORPG. The one that I played the most when it came out and played until it was over was City of Heroes, a superhero-based online game. It was very fun. It was great. They shut it down because they didn't want to keep it running. And in the last few years, fans have resurrected it. It's back exactly as it was before, but slightly enhanced. People have brought it back. So if you ever played City of Heroes, look up City of Heroes Homecoming. There's also other people that have their own versions of it, but Homecoming is the biggest one that has backing by NCSoft. Backing, not financially, backing by permission. They have been given by the company that made the original game to keep the game up, so long as they don't make a profit from it. And they're not. The money that they make is going directly to the servers to help maintain keeping the system running. That's it. So people that donate, they help keep the game running. That's it, exclusively. So if you have the nostalgia for that game, go check it out. It's still out there. That said, that was the only thing I ever really obsessed over. And for me, the reason I obsessed over it was because I needed to put my mind to something. My mom at the time had just died. And that was years ago, so I'm okay with it. That was, that was 22 years ago? Yeah, 22 years ago, vaguely, effectively, is when my mom died. So it was a long time ago. That's when the game was running as well. And it was my outlet. It was the only way that I had to be able to do anything with anybody. And at the time, I was living at a friend's house because I couldn't stand staying at home with my dad anymore because he was being an ass. So I lived at a friend's house and played on my little dinky HP laptop that I had on low resolution, low quality, everything, but playing and enjoying it with everybody else. And it was just like the one thing I could escape in. So that was great. And it was probably the one thing I put the most effort into. And when I met my other half, we played it. We played other games. We played Guild Wars 2, and that came out. Champions Online, which is a newer superhero game, which is still running. DC Universe Online, which is another superhero game, which is still running. But none of them to excess. None of them did I play a lot. So just City Heroes, that was the one big one that I played a lot of. And of course, World of Warcraft, we got around to eventually as well. And then among other ones, Terra Rising, I think it was, Terra Online. Just a bunch of other games we played. I could dig online and get my other half over here to like list every game we've ever played. I'm not going to do that. Um, CRT monitors. Yes, I've got a couple CRT monitors. I'm actually looking at one right now. I've got an old compact. I forget the model number, but it does amber monochrome, orange monochrome. So it's super cool looking. And I've got an old compact portable as well, which is like an all-in-one luggable thing, which is like the size of a gigantic, heavy, like 50-pound suitcase. And the keyboard folds out from it to show the screen and the floppy drives. And I did some work to repair that one. I didn't need much. It was running, but the keyboard was not working. And the keyboard has these little round disc-shaped pads underneath it for that keyboard design, and it had foam on the inside of it and a capacitive material on the bottom. So when you press the key down, it acts as the spring, and it acts as the thing that impacts the circuit board to make it contact and show the key was pressed. And both the round disc with the conductive coating and the foam had disintegrated. So I had to pick those out, buy replacements. The keys had turned yellow, so I did a process where you put them in a baking soda and peroxide solution, or just peroxide solution, and it whitens yellowed plastics, and that restored the look of them quite a bit. I'm rambling at this point. Sorry. You're not alone. I quit any hobby I don't feel good at. And I've never been creative. I feel you there. I did like a tiny bit when I was a kid, but again, I did it when I was a kid. It didn't go anywhere. And I turned toward computers and I never looked back until recently. And my only other hobby has been Magic the Gathering. Hey. And my friends got kids and stuff now, so I got to find something to entertain myself that's not just consuming media. I feel that so much. It's like, it's a different way of potentially going mindless, depending on what you're painting with, and how. And painting with intention to create scenes like the one that we're working on today, or painting abstract, which I really enjoy. Painting nebula. Another reason I enjoy them is because they're kind of abstract, right? It's the ability to get lost in it. It is as mindless as consuming media, but it's a mindlessness of creation instead of a mindlessness of absorption of other people's creativity. Living vicariously through other people's art, basically, is what that comes down to. And, I think a thing that helped with that was we've been consuming for years now so much of other people having fun, other people doing things, and like we're having like a secondary buzz off of other people's fun and good times and their creativity. And I watch people like there's a bunch of people we watch that are in Japan who are enjoying going around Japan. Like, wow, that'd be really nice for us to go there because, I mean, who doesn't want to go to Japan? So at some point we want to go there, but watching people go that's a knife's edge, right? Sometimes it's exciting and fun to watch, and sometimes it's exhausting because you're like, I just don't want to watch you doing it. I want to go do it myself. So go away. It's the same thing when it comes to consuming art and people that build, who are builders, makers. We watch all kinds of people who do stuff. I watch Adam Savage from Mythbusters. He has a channel called Tested on YouTube. I love watching his stuff. And I love watching when he does live streams and looking at the cut up version of the live streams they put on for free on their channel, where he answers questions from people, and he just is a real human being. He's not an actor anymore. He's not trying to promote a perspective that is somebody else's. It's his perspective as a human. And wow, what a good soul he is. If you've not watched any of his stuff on Tested, check it out. He is just he gets angry like anybody else does, but he's better about not doing that so much on stream anymore. And like the rest of the time, he is just a joy. He's just fun to listen to. Inspiring is the good word to describe it. And then through him, we found a lot of other people. Simone Yetch, who is also another maker. You may have seen her online. She did a Truckla, which is her version of a Tesla, and they didn't have a truck at the time. They didn't have the Cybertruck even as an announcement. So she built a truck out of a Tesla and called it Truckla. And that's one of the things she got known for. And she also does a bunch of side odd robots and things to do tasks and whatnot. So she has a fun channel there. Another person through there is Laura Kampf, who's a German and was for the longest time in Germany, but she moved to LA with her wife, and she makes stuff there now. She does a video every week. So if you want to see someone who's pretty regular about making stuff, they're pretty cool too. But yeah, all of these people were great to watch. They're so fun. They're wonderful people. They're a joy. But after a while, depending on who you are and what your needs are, we're one of these people. Watching them starts to hurt because you're not making anything. You're watching somebody make, and you start feeling like, I can never do that. I can never be that person. I can never create like those people. And I think we were watching a bunch of people at that point 2 years ago when I was stressed out. I was stressed out and tired. I needed something to do. We're watching, like I was doing work, productive work at work, getting paid for it, making something that turned out great and is out and deployed now and is beautiful and we're constantly improving. That's a side thing. I was creating, but I didn't feel like I was creating. I was working. I didn't feel like it was art. It was taking somebody else's product and making it work for us and building it and getting it out the door, right? I needed a way to be able to do my own creation, and painting became that. It let me get into like a flow state, like an ability, a way to be able to create something and not care about the outcome and just make something, let it dry, see how it works. If you don't like it, throw it out, put it in a bucket to the side to come back to later and say, yep, I'm saving everything I make, good or bad. And this was one of the bad, but I made it. So here it is. And maybe it'll, and the amazing thing is a lot of times when you make stuff and it feels like it's bad, how it transforms into something good when you come back to it the next day or a week later or a month later, you come back and look at it and be like, huh, I kind of like how that mess up turned out. It actually looks cool. And sometimes it doesn't. Like here, let me show you one. Hang on. One sec. All right. So let's look at a mess up that I like. This was a random abstract that I did that at first I did not like it. Day of, I thought it was ugly, terrible. I streamed this. I didn't like how it came out. But looking at it the next day and every time after it, I love this. I absolutely love how this came out. Check that out. It looks like a hot mess, and it is, but there's some emotion in getting this done. I absolutely love the look of this. And like, sorry, it's in a frame, so it's going to be glossy, forgive me. But you just look at how some of those colors merged together and fringed into each other. Like it felt like a total abstract mess when I did it. I'm like, why am I making this slop? And it was something else underneath, and I covered it up to this point. I don't even remember what the original thing was. We'll have to go back and find the stream on YouTube that I did this on. But as a whole, it's even and like it balances in a way that looks really cool. It could be vertical even. So that one's pretty cool. And then we have Goddess. If you're still around, you'll see this and you'll be like, oh yeah, you didn't like this, but I thought it was great. This is an experiment I did painting on mineral paper. So if you don't know, standard paper for watercolor is made from, usually the best ones are 100% cotton. Sometimes you'll get ones that are made out of mostly cellulose. Cellulose is what normal paper is made out of, like writing paper. And if you've ever had a spitball spit at you, you will know that, sorry, that's gross, but you need to know about it. Standard writing paper, note paper, is made from cellulose. And but that's just basically tree pulp, right? and it gets ground up and pulverized into dust, and then mixed with water and other materials and formulated and pressed into paper. Well, cheap watercolor paper is also mostly cellulose. And because of that, you can pretty much only paint on it the once. And as soon as you try to do any recovery work, re-wetting, anything like that, it buckles, it warps, it it is just it pills up. Like you start scrubbing on the paper one time in one spot, and the cellulose comes up and it comes away from the paper. Good watercolor paper is made from 100% cotton. So Arches, what I use is 100% cotton. It does not do that, right? Now, mineral paper is different. Mineral paper is a mixed media paper type, but it is made from calcium carbonate, which is basically stone, a mineral paper. But it looks and feels and acts a lot like plastic in a way, right? Super weird. Uh, and so when you paint on it, it's, oh, let me show you what one looks like that I did recently, and then I'll show you what I was going to show you. Eh, You, not that one. This one. Yeah, here we go. This is mineral paper. So mineral paper is very, very thin. It is slightly reflective in a way. It's matte, but it's slightly reflective, I guess. I guess it's kind of matte. Well, it's very plastic. Let's put it that way. It's very floppy and floopy, but it always lays back down flat. A lesson learned, never, ever, 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 ever try to dry this with heat. It will bubble up and warp because it is effectively like plastic, and it will warp and bubble and it'll never come undone. So don't use heat on this to dry it. You have to let it sit and dry naturally. The paint tends to rest on the surface of this until it dries, and then it adheres. Watercolor paper, standard cotton watercolor paper, the paint and the water is absorbed into the paper, then it dries, right? This rests on top of it. So there is no stiction, I guess is the best word to use for it, of the paint and the water to the spot where you put it. As soon as you put it to this paper, it spreads out and flows any which direction. So this is made in particular using that liquid watercolor ink, which I have a bunch of down here. So just like this, or ink jars like this. I don't know how well this will focus. Nope, not gonna. Too many fun things on the table to focus on. Okay, well. Oh, there we go. You can see it from a distance. This is watercolor ink. Comes in a little jar, comes with a little dropper, a little rubber one, so you can squeeze it and suck some up into the tube in the middle. And then you draw it on the paper. You can do it in lines, however you want to. You can put it on the paper. You can put it on water and watch it spread out. Doing it this direction, this way. I put paint from those droppers in rows in like a couple spots, and then a couple spots. And then I grab another color and I do it in alternating spots in between when I put down. And sometimes it touches, sometimes it doesn't. And then I do water with a flat wash brush on the top part of the paper, on the bottom part of the paper. And then I go back with that clean, wet brush with fresh water, and I connect the puddles with the row of paint, and it blooms outward in both directions. And then you just let it flow, you let it sit, and you let it dry naturally overnight. You cannot hurry it. You cannot move it. You can't do anything with it once you start it. So I rarely make these on stream because I wouldn't be able to do anything else. So when I do this, I do it at the end of a stream. And then the next time we come back, we look at it, what was made. But once we start it, we kind of let it go. All of that to describe this monstrosity that I still don't like. I try to get over it. I'm not thrilled with it. So this is supposed to be an Aurora, which I have not yet quite learned how to do well on regular paper. And I decided the first time I'd make it, let's try doing it on mineral paper. What a thought that was. It is interesting. It's cool looking. It's not what I wanted. And I tried doing a winter scene underneath of the mountain on the left, a mountain on the right, maybe a little river on the left, a little town down the far back there, some trees and all that. Even if I don't like it as a proof of concept, it is. It's a thing that I made with a large piece of paper, and I put it in a frame because other people like it. Other half likes it. Goddess likes it, so I'm letting it slide. But you've got your wins and your loses, and sometimes you hate them in the moment, and you come back to them later and you love them. And then like that last one, sometimes you come back and you're like, I tolerate it. I still don't love it, right? I mean, it's not perfect, but it's it's something. It's something I did. I got it down on paper. I've done it. I've learned from it, and I might try to remake it again someday in the future. Who knows, right? Let me put all of my tape back where it belongs. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, you too. Oh, right. You too. Okay. Aside from that, I've got my ruler. I've got a paper cutter, a simple paper cutter, because that's always useful. Uh, just a variety of other tools and things, nothing crazy. Some point we'll pull it all out and we'll look at it. But yeah, I think I've got to the point where I have talked enough about everything. We wrap up on our tats, dry everything, and put the stuff that I'm going to bring with me when I do go back out again, back into that kit. I'll put it over there. Let's catch up on chat. Let me go back to the beginning on Snark. You're not alone. I quit any hobby I don't feel good about. We talked about that. But seeing here, I see you learning to paint like learning a language, communicating visually. Not because you're at a university, but because you find the language beautiful in of itself. So it's a lifelong process, not a race or a marathon. Super true. I agree with that completely. It's how I'm looking at it. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it because I love the pretty things. Ooh, shiny thing. That's basically what I'm making here is for myself, and I'm sharing it with others. I feel you in not overdoing the painting. Keep it fun, light, and interesting. No need to hit our head at the wall. We've got all the time in the world. Super true. Thank you for validating me. I appreciate that. It's super true. No need to apologize. Rambling is a cornerstone of streaming. Also, coughing and stuff is not an issue. Oh, thank you. I still try to catch it and mute when I can. I do have a little stream deck over here. I've got a manual mute button on my mic, but sometimes I forget. It just reacts and happens, but it's cool. It's life. Yeah, flow state, exactly. You're creating something for yourself now. Thank you. I love that. Thank you. I made an ugly card with some simple watercolor balloons for a birthday. It wasn't really nice in any manner, but just giving something homemade was a pleasure, right? See, it is. It's so cool. See, yeah, that's something we were looking at doing last Christmas, and I never got around to finishing them all. But I started making a bunch of greeting cards. 4x6, I think is what he did. I don't think this is going to come off nice, but I'm going to try. Oh, okay. It stayed up there. This is one example I love. Combining space and Star Trek as holidays. I need to cover up the text and maybe scan this with just the image part to reprint in the future. I thought that was cute. Happy holidays from our quadrant to yours, right? I love how this came out. It's super cute. Little Starship Voyager, for anyone who knows, up there, twirling around the little tree, bean garland. What a cute idea, right? So yeah, I want to make a bunch of greeting cards. I've got some that I started last week on Monday, when I started painting the whole starry night sky thunderstorm lightning thing. I was showing the lightning that I've done before. They were also greeting cards. They're the same size as this. And then I've got a bunch of other ones up here that are really hard to take down, so I might not. But I've got a bunch of other ones. I've got some, what is it called? I always forget the name of them. The orbs that you hang from Christmas trees. Ornaments. Wow, that was hard to wrap my head around for a moment. Yeah, some regular ball ornaments. I've got some up there that I made that came out really cool. 3D spheres. I like those. There's some abstract art that was like a large sheet that I cut into 4 pieces. individual ones and it made them look better than the whole original. So I'm happy with that too. Yeah, green cards are fun. I want to work more on that as we get like later in the year, as we get closer to the holidays. I may make more of those, and then once I've got a collection I like, then I could scan them in or send them off or something. All right, let's see. Ugly card. Not ugly cards. I did do a watercolor balloon thing that I didn't quite like how it looked. I don't think I have it over here. I think it's buried. It's in here somewhere. But I did like what is the vintage look? Sepia tone. I did like a vintage sepia tone era balloon, like one of the ones that was like the classic, like very narrow balloon, kind of like a weather balloon in a way, where it's like very narrow and then it like lumps on top, but very narrow with a little basket. I did that one, but I also did a proper full big hot air balloon on a scene. I have that on my Instagram, so if you want to find my link to Instagram down below, check it out if you haven't yet. Scroll down a bit and you'll find the hot air balloon I did. It's on there. It's pretty fun. I love how that one came out. That one is one of the few things that I actually sketched. I actually sketched out a hot air balloon using my light box, and then I did the scene around it. I see it. That's a cool one. I would hang that on my wall, no question. Oh, this one? Yeah, it's super cool. I do like how this one came out. I'm very happy with it. And it's why it's on in the frame, because at some point my other half, I was gonna give it to him to hang up on the wall by his desk. Blocking out the background with your other hand could help with focus, maybe. It could. I've never been great at what's the word I'm looking for? Not focus. Depth? No. Well, yes, but no. There's a word for it that I'm spacing on. Perspective. There we are. I've never been super great at perspective. I can visualize it, but I can't translate it to paper. So to do perspective, I would have to sketch it on regular like printer paper and then resketch it and then maybe resketch it and then maybe run it through AI and have it be like, can you fix my terrible garbage handwriting here and make this look like an actual sketch? And then I would put that under a light box and sketch it onto watercolor paper and paint it. Like I see so many people. Oh, camera focus. Oh, sometimes I don't think it works very well. There's too much stuff with hard edges on the screen at most times. Usually the painting I'm working on and the palette here, and it tries to focus on it. So you can see it trying to autofocus right now, where it like zooms in and out a bit. When there is a painting on the page, it's pretty good at staying focused on it. When I want to raise something up to focus on it, if there's other stuff on the screen, it doesn't do a great job always at refocusing. Sometimes it does, like right there it did. But if there's too much on the screen around it, it trips out. And I've tried doing my hand next to it a lot of times, and sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't, right? So like if I put this back down, right? And I grab like this. Oh, look, this is wax. Focus, wax. Focus. 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 See, now it's almost all hand and it hasn't quite, there we go. Like I have to fiddle with it to get it to focus, right? That's tough. I haven't used this yet, by the way. It's on my list. I got it. I haven't used it yet. I'm prepared, partially prepared. This is a wax that you use as a sealant on top of your watercolor painting so that it does not reactivate when it gets wet. And it's supposed to go on and dry clear. And that way you can give greeting cards out with watercolor on it and it doesn't get wet and bloom and reactivate and ruin the painting. It puts a layer on top of it. So stuff that you put in the frame, you don't have to really worry about that so much. But stuff that might be handed out, or if you ever sell actual original paintings to people, not in a frame, you'll probably want to seal it. Some people use wax. Some people use like a fixative spray. You spray all over it outdoors and or in a vacuum thing where you can suck the fumes away and then let it dry. And sometimes do a couple passes, and then sometimes people use wax. So yeah, it's the same. Focusing. If there was an easy way to focus, I would. I don't have a camera that's like a DSLR with like a ring to focus. Um, I'm using a Obsbot 4K camera, I think is the brand, Obsbot. Um, and its autofocus is usually pretty good unless there's too much stuff going on. It's not meant for down facing streaming or recording, so the focus is not really meant for that. It's meant to be looking at people, so it's really good with like AI stuff and gestures. I turn all that stuff off because I'm not doing that kind of video. I'm looking at me, God forbid. Um, and so autofocus usually works for me. And the only time that it would become a pain is if I want to show something up close like that or lift something up to show it. I could set manual focus and leave the bottom, the table surface always in focus, and then maybe set a button that automatically or manually sets the focus to a closer distance so that I can be like, raise it up to where I know it's normally focused. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. That's something to consider. Anywho, last little bits. Let's see. Yeah, you don't like it is good for a concept. Thank you. The kidder is like, who? Who? How do you pronounce that? Goats? Goets? I don't know. And such also have failures they don't show us. We just got to keep going too. See, that's so true. So many, even the good painters, they have failures, and I appreciate so much when they show their failures. It's so nice. I absolutely appreciate that. I love seeing people that do that. There's one guy, I hate to not have my phone over here, but there's one guy, his name is Kevin. Kevin, I forget what he does, like names his whole thing, but on Instagram, his name's Kevin. He watercolors. But he's absolutely wild and crazy. He started with other art media and he only recently started getting into watercolor. And he shows his like watercolor painting process and he's really goofy. So he's fun to watch. But uh, he, he's fun to watch. I don't know where I was going with that. Uh, he shows his failures. One of the things he does is he'll, when he's painting something and like he'll show a clip of him like painting and just doing random stuff on it. And then you see like a moment of fluster, him getting flustered. And then you see him go to the sink and wash the whole painting with water. And I'm like, why does he do that? And it's because it's a failure and he's just going to use that surface and cover it up. So he goes and he washes it to wash away any of the really strong pigment that's on the page. And then he brings it back over and blots it and it's still wet. And then he just paints over it. Something else. So like sometimes you can turn the failure into something beautiful. Sometimes you just let it dry and it sits on the table with all your other crap. Let's see. I can just like, oh, down below, Sononius. Yeah, Google screwed me over. Yeah, she's got a really unique name, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, she also has failures. Oh, she has failures she shows you. She's very happy to show, well, not happy, but she does very much show when she screws up a lot of times. And sometimes the end of the video is the thing is screwed up. And that's just how it is. Maybe she'll come back to it in the future. Who knows? But I appreciate creators showing failure. It's so important to show that not everybody is perfect out of the gate because it sets an unrealistic expectation for people who want to start out, right? Let's see, the card is stunning, thank you. Piece of paper held up behind the object you want to show, maybe? Oh, that might be true. I have this. I have this little board. It's like a school project board that folds out. The goal is that I set it up behind when I'm going to do stars with white paint, so I don't get white paint everywhere on everything behind me. But this might work. When I want to hold stuff up and be like, hey, look at this cool thing. Focus on the text, please. And then cover it all up. Oh, yeah, that kind of works. Okay. Yeah, that's a good possibility. So I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna fold it like this. And be like, hey, let's take a look at this thing. Oh yeah, that works. Okay. I'll keep this to the side. Good idea. I'll keep this to the side for the future, to use to help with autofocus. Maybe that will help me out. Let me go ahead and cover up my paint so that it dries up or stays left alone. So I'll put this back up on the wall here in a minute. This is going to dry and I will come back to it next time. I need to dump my dirty water out and then put up everything else. And I think I'll be good to go. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to prep to go ahead and head on out. Snark, thank you so much for interacting with me. I absolutely appreciate it. And I would love to see some of your work sometime. We're not super active in it, but if you would like, I do have a link to my Discord down below. And you're free to hop in there. There I go, clear my throat. I'm free to hop in there. And anytime you feel like you got something you want to share, success, a failure, uh, a completed work, a work in progress, anything you want. I would appreciate if people feel like they're bored and they want to pop in there, share a quick thing, then dip out and not appear until the next week. That's fine. But if you'd like, if there's anything you want to share, it's a good place to dip in and like post pictures and stuff. Um, Thursday for sure, we're gonna come back to this. By then, I will probably have the waterfall pictures and videos from earlier this weekend uploaded, so I can share them on screen, so you can see what we saw on Saturday. It was really fun. And then maybe that'll be the next thing to paint after this. A look at a waterfall. I've never done that before. How badly could I screw that up? Probably a lot. All right, guys, have a great night. Appreciate sharing what you made. And the show and tell too. Oh, anytime. Yeah, I'll have another show and tell sometime. Maybe a year from now, we'll go over all the old paintings again. Oh, God. Hope you have a lovely day. You too. I'll check it out. And sharing your mind with us anytime. You get to see my crazy thought process all the time here. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day if you celebrate it. And if not, I hope you got to at least have the day off from work. Have a great day. I will be back probably on Thursday. All right. My name is Bear. I have been barely watercoloring. I'll see you later. Let's turn the music up and head on out. Goodbye. 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 Farewell. Hasta la vista.